Picture a machine standing 9 feet tall, red and black armor plating, a glass cockpit built right into its chest. Now picture climbing inside, strapping in, and walking it down a city street like you are wearing a giant metal exoskeleton from a science fiction film. That machine is real. It is called the GD-01. A Chinese robotics company called Unitree just started selling it, and the price tag is $650,000. This is not a concept video. This is not a prototype locked away in a lab. You can order one today. Let's start with what this thing actually is, because the specs alone sound like they were pulled from a comic book. The GD-01 stands between 2.7 and 3.4 meters tall, depending on its posture. That is up to 10.5 feet, roughly 1.5 times the height of an average adult. It weighs about 500 kilograms with a pilot inside. For comparison, that is close to the weight of a grand piano or a small car. The frame is built from high-strength alloy. Hydraulic actuators drive all 4 limbs through a precision servo system. And here is the detail that makes this machine genuinely different from anything else on the market. It transforms. In its upright mode, the GD-01 walks on 2 legs like a human. A pilot sits in a torso-mounted cockpit, gripping controls, watching the world from 9 feet up. But when the terrain gets rough or the pilot needs more stability, the entire machine folds forward. The arms become front legs. The 2-legged walker becomes a 4-legged crawler, hugging the ground like a mechanical gorilla. The transition between these 2 modes takes only seconds. No external assistance. No support crew running in to help it reconfigure. It just folds and keeps moving. Unitree released a 1-minute demonstration video in May of 2026. In it, the company's founder, Wang Xingxing, climbs into the cockpit himself. He straps in, he grips the controls, and he walks the machine across an indoor workshop floor. Then, without warning, the robot throws a single punch. Its fist connects with a brick wall. The wall collapses. No dramatic music. No narrator hyping up the moment. Just a machine, a pilot, and a wall that used to be standing. After the demonstration, the robot folds down into its 4-legged crawling mode and exits the frame. Unitree included 1 line of text at the end of the video. Please everyone be sure to use the robot in a friendly and safe manner. That single sentence tells you almost everything you need to know about how seriously and how playfully this company is approaching a machine capable of punching through walls with a human being strapped inside it. So who is actually building this and why? Unitree is based in Hangzhou, China. Until now, the company was best known for something very different: small, relatively affordable robots. Their 4-legged robot dogs start around $1,600. Their G1 humanoid robots sell for around $15,000, a fraction of the price charged by competitors in the United States. Unitree built its reputation on making robotics accessible. Researchers buy their robots. Hobbyists buy their robots. The company leaned on China's hardware supply chain to manufacture at a scale and a price point that undercut nearly everyone else in the industry. The GD-01 represents a sharp turn from that strategy. This is not an affordable robot. This is a $650,000 machine aimed at an entirely different kind of buyer. So what is it actually for? Unitree describes the GD-01 as a civilian vehicle, not a military product and not a theme park novelty, even though it certainly looks like one. 1. Elevated inspection. Imagine needing to examine the upper floors of a building or survey damage at height without renting a crane. A 9-foot-tall walking platform with a human pilot on board can get a vantage point that would otherwise require expensive equipment. 2. Disaster and rescue access. Collapsed structures, rubble fields, hazardous terrain that is too unstable for wheeled vehicles but where a 4-legged crawling mode could pick a path through debris. 3. Rough terrain transport. The ability to switch from upright walking to a stable, low crawl means the GD-01 could theoretically cross ground that would stop a normal vehicle entirely. And 4. The one Unitree is the least shy about: spectacle, ride-along experiences, branded demonstrations, live appearances. For collectors and technology enthusiasts with deep pockets, Owning the world's first mass-produced transformable mecha is its own kind of statement, the same way owning a rare supercar is a statement. But here is where we need to slow down, because not everyone watching that demonstration video walked away impressed. Several outlets that reviewed the footage in detail raised real concerns. The robot in the demo video shows visible wear, scratched paint, exposed wiring running down the limbs, and what looks like tires repurposed and zip-tied onto the frame for traction. There is no visible control panel or dashboard in front of the pilot's seat, which raises an obvious question. How exactly do you drive this thing? Unitree itself has been transparent about this. The company has not yet released full technical specifications. Battery runtime, top walking speed, and joint torque ratings are all listed as not yet publicly disclosed. Unitree says a complete engineering datasheet will follow before the machine ships internationally to buyers in the United States and Europe. In other words, what we are looking at right now is closer to a confident first production unit than a fully mature, road-tested vehicle. The walking pace shown in the demo video is moderate, almost deliberate. This is not a machine sprinting across a battlefield. It is a machine carefully proving that the basic concept works. And that context matters, because we have seen this pattern before in robotics and in transportation more broadly. The first commercial drone from DJI was clunky by today's standards. The first Tesla Roadster was a low-volume, expensive proof of concept before electric vehicles became mainstream. The first Boston Dynamics robots that went viral online were nowhere near as refined as what that company builds today. None of those first versions changed the world the day they launched. What they did was prove that a category existed. They were the opening argument in a conversation that took years to fully play out. The GD01 looks like it is making the same kind of opening argument, just for piloted mechas. If that pattern holds, the next several years will not be about whether someone can build a giant pilotable robot. Unitree just answered that question. The next several years will be about turning a $650,000 proof of concept into something closer to a $200,000 industrial tool, reliable enough for construction sites, inspection companies, and emergency response teams to actually depend on. That is a serious engineering challenge. Battery life alone, for a 500-kilogram hydraulic machine carrying a human passenger, is a problem that has not been solved in public yet. Structural fatigue, joint durability, safety certification for carrying a live human inside a machine that can punch through brick walls. These are not small hurdles. But it is also exactly the kind of hard problem that the broader humanoid robotics industry has already solved once. 5 years ago, a capable, mass-producible humanoid robot selling for $15,000 sounded almost as far-fetched as a pilotable mecha sounds today. Unitree itself proved that one wrong. There is also a bigger story sitting underneath the spectacle of this single robot. Unitree is preparing for an initial public offering on Shanghai's Star Market, a stock exchange built specifically for high-growth technology companies. A machine like the GD01, dramatic, photogenic, and impossible to ignore online, does more than sell a few $100,000 units to wealthy collectors. It puts Unitree's name in front of millions of people who had never heard of the company before a video of a man punching through a wall while standing inside a giant robot started circulating across the internet. In that sense, the GD01 might be best understood as two things happening at once. It is a genuine, if early, attempt at a new category of vehicle, and it is one of the most effective pieces of marketing the robotics industry has produced in years. Whether you look at the GD01 as the future of construction and rescue equipment, or as a $650,000 toy for people who grew up watching giant robots on screen, one thing is hard to argue with. A company in Hangzhou just built something that, until a few months ago, only existed in fiction, and they are shipping it to your door. The age of the mecha did not arrive with fanfare or a Hollywood budget or a military contract. It arrived as a 1-minute video, a man in a workshop, and a brick wall that did not stand a chance.